is a heartwarming story. I mean, again, we've talked about this in the past. There are basically two types of Republicans. There are maybe it's impolite to say morons. The boobs, let's call them the boobs, or the rubes, who are homophobic, who are somewhat misogynist. They're probably also nationalist, if not racist. And then there are those who make money off of them or get elected. This is probably a story of the latter. But, I want to give credit. I don't want to judge too harshly. He may also be a rube boob himself. In fact, yeah.
A rube boob.
A rube boob.
I like it.
Washington lobbyist Jack Burkman. Now, I've actually done some TV with this guy. Back in the day, he used to be on MSNBC a decent amount. I mean, way back. And I think I did a Coast to Coast as a sub-host with, I can't remember her name, but she was the one who worked for Nixon. And on the day that we were supposed to do this, I've listened to her on radio now. She's really bad on radio. We were doing the show that day, and the identity of Deep Throat was announced. And because she had worked for Nixon, we had to do the whole show based on that. And Jack Burkman was one of the guests, and he simply denied. He said there is no such thing as Deep Throat. The guy doesn't exist. This is all made up by the left. And I think I said we will get to your Roswell segment after this. And then supposedly the guy was involved in some type of hooker scandal that he supposedly denies involvement in. And then there was also some thing where I think he had tried to hit on sort of really inappropriately a woman on Facebook. I can't remember, but leaving that aside, I'm sure that was all just rumor and innuendo. This
Deep
is
Throat
not
doesn't exist, honey, but
this but this is not. He's a lobbyist who released a statement saying, "We are losing our decency as a nation." In explaining why he is drafting legislation that would ban gay athletes, presumably openly gay athletes, from joining the National Football League. Imagine your son, he writes, being forced to shower with a gay man. That's a horrifying prospect for every mom in the country. What in the world has this nation come to? Now, there's a lot to pick apart in this statement. One is, I don't think anyone's being forced to shower with a gay man, as horrific of a notion that might be for a guy like Jack Burkman to be in a shower with, I don't know, 8, 10 other men, and to know as a mother that one of those men in there could be gay, and your son is in there. If you're one of those mothers who imagine your sons showering as grown men, I'm not going to judge. But, you could also just say to your son, hey, 20-year-old Billy, maybe it's best for you to shower at home, I suppose. Because I don't think that anyone's forced to shower after a game. They may want to. And I just don't know that it's a horrifying prospect for every mom in the country. Surely there are some moms in the country who are not horrified by that prospect. Now, of course, he's smart because he doesn't say fathers, because as a father of a son, I would be a little bit nervous at age 11 months if he was showering with any men, or frankly, any women that weren't a part of his family. And frankly, I'd be nervous about him being in a shower because he can barely stand on dry surfaces as it is. What in the world has this nation come to? If the NFL has no morals and no values, then Congress must find values for it. You should also know that Jack Burkman and Associates, his lobbying firm, has signed 70 new clients last year, the most of any K Street firm. So this guy is basically just trying to drive business. The coda to this story is that it turns out that Jack Burkman's brother, Dr. Jim Burkman, is gay and was interviewed by Sam Stein in the Huffington Post. And he said, I think the idea that he's pushing legislation that is just hurtful and ridiculous is just plain stupid, said Jim Burkman. He's not a legislator, and he can't really push the legislation. I don't think there are any co-sponsors for the bill. It's just an attention grab and a media grab to pander to those folks who pay him to lobby on their behalf. Now, to be fair to Jack Burkman, he claims he has maybe 5 senators and maybe 30 congressmen who will sign on to this legislation. Jim Burkman said, Jack Burkman was also interviewed by Sam Stein. He never mentioned during the interview that his brother is openly gay, though he didn't hesitate to confirm his brother's identity when showed a disapproving tweet calling Jack Burkman an ass. And Jack Burkman said, well, he and I have had great debates for years.
Like where I'm stunningly stupid and homophobic, conspiratorial, and he says, you're an ass.
Right. And Jim Burkman says he's always asked me not to talk about it with people. But at this point, I saw this blowing up this morning, was happy to let my friends and people who I support and love know that I am firmly against my brother. And you should know that Jack Burkman, so concerned that the NFL will not impose morals so that Congress has to do it, apparently did not have the time to draft any legislation after NFL players have killed people or sexually assaulted them in the past. Didn't have a problem at that point. So Jack Burkman, you're a huge douchebag, but I'll give you some credit, like your brother, and just say that you're just doing this to exploit the morons that you represent and pay you. But it's another example. How to be a conservative is really just a grift. An offensive one, but it is, at the end of the day, a grift.